I'm the killer, bring it back.
Greetings, Earthlings. How you doing? Where you been? Who you boning? Welcome to another episode of Guys We Hugged.
It's the anti-bad girl shaming podcast. I'm Corinne Fisher.
I'm Krystyna Hutchinson.
Welcome to our show.
Yeah, you're here. We're here. Let's get into it. If you want to email us, the email address to send it to is sorryaboutlastnightshow@gmail.com. Today's subject line, and you'll know why I'm reading it, is how do I communicate what I'm really feeling? Hello. Hey. Admittedly, I am a new listener. I saw Corinne on Where My Mom's At, and I've been catching up with your show as much as I can since then. Your honesty is really helping me be honest with myself, and I'm hoping you have some relationships slash life advice for this potentially dumb bitch.
It's always nice when you do press and you get one new listener at least.
Yay! We'll take it.
So thank you for making the transition.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm turning 30 soon. Yo, bitch. And I've been with my current boyfriend for almost 6 years. We've lived together for most of this time. We got a dog, rent a house, and have supported each other through many highs and lows. We've talked about getting married someday, buying a house, etc. The sex is wonderful. We have many of the same interests and make a pretty great team. I smell a butt. But I've been reflecting on the choices I've made throughout my 20s. One thing that I've consistently been disappointed in myself for is my codependence. I moved away from home with a boy at 18, and I've stayed out of state, essentially hopping relationship to relationship. When I would be single temporarily, I'd always say how this is my chance to experience independence, figure my shit out, and have some fun while I'm at it. I didn't, and still don't, feel like lifelong monogamy is realistic for me, and I don't want to be a cheaty hoe like my dad, who's cheated on every woman he's been with. Then I'd fall fast and hard for the next guy and date him for a year. LOL. Anyway, lately I seriously cannot shake this idea that I need to save up the funds separate from my longtime boyfriend and do my own thing. Just side note here, you should never have just a bank account with your boyfriend or a girlfriend or husband or wife. You gotta have your own bank account. Everybody, all of them.
Yeah.
Boys, girls, theys, thems, everyone in between. Have your own bank account. I realize that I've been lying to myself about what truly makes me happy, and I've been have been trying to convince myself that the things he wants are what I want too.
Story of being a woman.
Especially in her 20s. It's been going on for so long, and maybe I'm just finally at the part of my adult brain development where I'm ready to make myself proud, and I don't feel the desperate need to be anyone's significant other. My heart feels very clogged up because of all of this. The spark has faded for me, and I don't know if I'm even capable of being in love at the moment. I mean, not with this guy, because you've been lying about your happiness. I love him, but I don't feel in love with him anymore. Here's my question.
Get married.
Have a baby.
You're ready.
And adopt. Here's my question. How do I talk to him about all of this? I don't come from a family of great communicators. Who does? It's so hard for me to seriously open up about my feelings. He also is not a great communicator. How do I go about disclosing all the things I've been feeling all along, even though my words and my actions don't exactly line up with them? It's not like I'm totally miserable. Yeah, but you're lying to yourself. But I feel like I'll never be truly happy if I don't have this period for my own self-discovery. Ding, ding, ding. Thank you. This has been my TED Talk XOXO. Honestly, the last sentence you said, I feel like I'll never truly be happy if I don't have a period of self-discovery for myself. That's enough. That's enough.
Just say that to him.
Yeah.
Copy and paste it from the email.
Yeah. I mean, maybe a little lead up, but it's, you're concerned about like, he's going to find out I've been lying to myself this whole time. You just found out you've been lying to yourself this whole time. You probably had an inkling, but you never really sat down to look at like, what do I value in a relationship and in my life? How do I want to feel? Do I feel this way? No. Sometimes it takes turning 30 to do that. Sometimes it takes turning 34, 35 to do that. If you're a man, 47. So I would say those 2 points are this jumping off points. And then a conversation is a dance. You don't have to come with a speech prepared, but start with that.
Yeah. And I also feel like you are like planning on, you don't have to give him your entire thought process for the past 6 years, nor have I ever met a man who would want to hear that.
Nah.
No matter how much he loves you.
Yeah.
So,
agreed.
Yeah. I mean, and I also think there's something very hurtful about disclosing information that makes it feel to the other person, even though that is not the circumstance, that the entire relationship has been a lie. And there is no benefit in conveying that to him. And there is no need for you to get that off your chest to him. I don't think. Yeah. So it's like, you can say, you know, you've been reflecting, you've loved the time that you have together. But I think you can also hone in on the fact that, like, you've been, you know, focusing a little bit too much on his wants. And I think the part about convincing yourself that the things that he wants for his future are the same things that you want for your future, I think that's a really good point to make. You don't need to say that the whole 6 years were a lie.
Oopsie poopsie, don't really love you that much. I gotta go.
It's so unnecessary. I mean, I feel like we go too far with honesty sometimes. It's like, is this information the person needs to know that will help them heal, or information that you absolutely have to divulge so you can heal? And if not, why are you fucking up what was a pretty good time?
Yeah, and also a quick way to check yourself before you have this conversation. Like,
I thought you were going to say before you wreck yourself.
I should have. Are the things I want to say coming from a place of love or fear? It's one of the two. Yeah. Okay. And you know in your bones, you know in your guts, if it's coming from a place of fear. You feel it. You feel it in your jaw, your shoulders, or wherever people feel it. But like, you'll know. And also, I just wanted to recommend a quick book for you, because you're at the girl, I'm so excited for you. The breakup's going to suck and it's going to be painful. Yes, absolutely. But all that energy coming from someone who's been there, all that energy that you've been applying to try to mold into his needs and lifestyle and morals and values, you get to put that towards yourself now, and it's going to be a great time, I promise. But I wanted to recommend this book by Martha Beck called The Way of Integrity. Her philosophy is integrity is the cure for all psychological suffering. And it's just like, it's kind of an art that to figure out when you're out of integrity with yourself.
I'm going to write a sister book to that called No It's Not Lady.
But for somebody who has been like, you know, not recognizing your own needs, that will fuck you up majorly and cause major depression and a midlife crisis, quarter life crisis, whatever. And so, yeah, I do highly recommend that book. And start the conversation off with the last sentence you told us.
Also, I actually wouldn't necessarily bank that this relationship's going to suck, because sometimes when it just goes stale, it's kind of easy to leave. These early year relationships that you kind of just age out of, for naturally, me, like I still think warmly about those people, but I don't have like a longing or like a what if for them really ever.
Well, did they say they're codependent together, or she just has codependency issues?
She said she has codependence. So it's hard
when you break up with somebody you're codependent with. It feels like you're like murdering a child, in a way sometimes. But yeah, this is definitely the right choice. So that's easy.
Enjoy your life.
Yeah. Congrats. Guys, come see us live. We do live episodes of Guys We Fucked from the studio, where you can call in. We have a phone number that you can call and text us. They are the last Wednesday of every motherfucking month. And the next one is April 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, youtube.com/Guys We Fucked without the U and fucked. In order to be in the comments section while we're going live, you got to subscribe to our YouTube. So just do it right now. It's free and it helps us.
Yeah. It's so fun. Do it? The shows are so fun, and people have been calling in with really, really great questions. It's been so interesting.
I love it.
And if you miss any of them, we keep them on our YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch old episodes, or like if you're nervous to call in, you can kind of see what kinds of things people call in with. But you can call in with whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating. And then we're going on the road. See us live. I'm going to be at Laugh Boston this weekend, April 14th and 15th. Edmonton, Canada, April 20th through the 22nd. Detroit, House of Comedy, 28th and 29th of April. And then Philadelphia, I am recording a live stand-up comedy album at Helium Comedy Club, May 11th, 12th, and 13th. And as always, I have a Patreon that you can sign up for. It's $5 a month. And I'm doing these group Zoom lamenting. I call them lamenting sessions because I don't want to get legally in trouble for saying therapy. But I got to say, there's more guys joining.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm like honored. And it's men really don't, masculinity really fucks you up, man. Whew, I feel for you guys. I do. I feel for women more, but I also really do feel for men, because
Krystyna feels for everybody.
I know. It's really exhausting. That's why I'm tired a lot. But man, when you put when you try to push a part of yourself down, obviously, as we all know, it implodes. But when that part of yourself is emotions, and being in touch with them.
Yeah.
Yo, that sucks. So, so it's not,
I was watching a podcast clip recently, and I'm fascinated by watching men podcast together when no women are present. And they were basically talking about how times in a relationship when a woman said, I love you first, but they like had already felt the love. And not only could they not say I love you back for months, they couldn't even like accept receiving the I love you in the moment. They were like, yeah, that's cool. And I was watching this and I go, again,
oh man, that sucks,
there are filters to filter out like curse words and pornography. I need a filter on Instagram to filter out whatever we're calling that, because I don't need to see that anymore. Okay?
Yeah. It's disheartening.
You win. All right? You win. I cannot see that anymore. Oh my God.
But yeah, sign up patreon.com/Krystyna Hutchinson. 4 times a month I do these Zoom for an hour, and it's just really fucking interesting and fascinating, and I love doing it, and it's cool. So that's my spiel.
Thank you so much to everyone who came out to the show in Dublin at Whelan's. It was fucking incredible. You guys, one of the best comedy audiences I've ever performed for in my life. And you know, I really don't give out compliments if I don't mean them. And my best friend, Dr. Thomas Whitfield, I don't even know if it was like, I don't even know if I gave him 24 hours notice. Maybe I gave him between 12 to 24 hours notice. And I was like, what if you open for me? Because he was always doing the part at the end.
Oh shit, Tommy.
But I was like, he's like probably the funniest non-comedian I know. So I was like, why don't you open for me? And I wanted to see, like, because we love fucking with each other. And so I started it like as fucking with him. But then I was like, but no, really. Like, and I was like, just do 5 minutes. I was like, do you think you can? And
5 is,
And then not only did he do 5, he ended up doing 10 minutes.
Tommy ran the light.
I was like, please just, no, I was like, please at least do 5 minutes.
But if you feel more comfortable,
but I was
keep
like,
going.
Do as long as you want. I was like, don't go wild here. And he told 2 stories, and he got lots of laughs. He was great.
Yay.
It was great.
That's fantastic.
I walked out and I was like, damn, this really shines a light on how bad some of our colleagues are.
Yeah.
And that this, but then I was like, oh, is this maybe not as hard as a career as we've convinced ourselves that it is?
Ego kills talent. That's what it is.
Tommy's
a performer.
Yeah.
I mean, he's taken acting classes. He's taken storytelling classes.
2-person show with you.
So I mean, he's but and
it's your audience, right? That
so they're familiar. Right.
So those are like the ideal circumstances to do a type 5.
Yeah, but it was
Tommy's good to look at. He goes out there.
Hey, so
there's a whole thing.
He's charismatic,
but it's part of it. Yeah, right.
It was incredible. Yeah. So that was great. And then maybe I'll have more road dates later in the year, but I'm kind of just doing a bi-coastal 2023. So I'll be in Los Angeles May 10th for my new show at the Comedy Store called Gash. And yes, guys, it means pussy on purpose. People think I like made a fucking accident, and they're like, does she know what means pussy?
Wait, what? You're asking Corinne, host of Guys We Fucked, if she knew Gash meant pussy?
Yeah,
it's literally a fucking, it's because it's a horror show with mostly female comedians on. That's why I fucking called it Gash on purpose, because Gash or Gash, like duh. Anyway, I mean, just like men thinking that like I didn't know what a gash was. It's like I'm a fucking female comedian. I know all the shit to say that people say. And so I would promote that, but it's sold out in like 7 hours, maybe less. Nice. So that's already sold out. But keep an eye. Most likely I'll be doing another one because that sold out so quickly. And thank you to everyone who bought tickets. I'll see you there. The lineup is incredible. Didn't even need to release any of the names on it to sell the tickets. So
more Gash coming.
More Gash, baby.
Yeah,
and
Gash on Gash.
And of course, listen to Without a Country on the Gas Digital Network, and it goes on YouTube.
Gash Digital Network.
I think we're doing Wednesdays now. I don't know. We're floating it around to get the news to you a little bit sooner, but just make sure to subscribe. Last week, because I was in Ireland, we did an amazing, or I did, a really deep dive on the Jared from Subway docu-series. You did?
He's an evil motherfucker.
It was fascinating. And
he's an evil motherfucker.
I do think I did manage to make Kid fucking kind of funny. So I think if you want to watch, because I didn't actually like love, the information in the docu-series was interesting, but I think they really could have whittled that down to like 90 minutes. So I kind of whittled it down for you. So you can watch my whole, dissection of that
He lost
documentary.
like 245 pounds eating Subway. I'm like, boo-boo, what were you eating before Subway?
Well, I think it's that you hear that a lot. The Kelly Osbourne lost a ton of weight eating chocolate. It's the eating the same thing every day.
Oh.
You can eat McDonald's. Like I know, like Morgan Spurlock.
Oh,
but
so
like,
your body's like used to like, okay,
someone else ate McDonald's every day, but the same thing, and they lost weight too. And it's also you kind of just get less interested in food because you know you're going to receive the same thing.
Right.
So you probably leave a little on your plate.
So it's not as emotional, probably.
Eating the same thing every day is like, it's not the best way to get nutrients, obviously.
course,
but if
yeah.
you're just looking for weight loss, I think it actually is a really good tactic.
And it's like
Nice.
calories. Like if you eat half of one of those sandwiches every day,
Yeah.
and that's like your
Oh,
food for
yeah.
the day, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like you're gonna probably lose weight. You're not
I
eating
loved
that
Subway.
much shit,
Yeah,
you know?
after the Frank breakup,
Yo,
I
their
was eating pretty
sandwiches-
much exclusively fast food because it's the only thing my palate would like even want.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
lost, so much
Yeah,
weight.
right.
Because I just
Yeah.
wasn't eating that much of it.
Right.
I mean, it was, my tongue was
Crazy.
also turning gray, but you know.
Yeah, I
Well,
remember that.
it's not good for you,
Oopsies.
but-
How far you've come.
Yeah.
CUM, come. That's cool. How are you otherwise?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'll talk about Ireland and other places. I mean, I had places I talked about it with the audience, but just a great country, as you had given me the
loved
heads
that
up.
place. And the people are they're just gritty in a way that they're like East Coast American.
Well, you
people,
kept saying
but
that,
Irish.
and I was like worried that it was going to be like Israel, where
I've never been there.
where like the women were like so, or like not the women, just everyone, because you specifically said like the women in Ireland
strong.
don't take any bullshit and are strong, and I was like, oh, like,
But
and
they don't overcompensate for it.
I was like, they were so
It's genuine.
all weaker than me, so I was totally comfortable. I was like, I just, like, I know me. I don't necessarily want to go on a vacation with all me's. That's not.
Oh, right,
I don't
right.
think anyone finds that relaxing.
Need a break.
Yeah. So I was like worried that it would be like Israel, where like everyone is just like fucking yelling at each other all the time and like, like, "Arr." But it wasn't like that at all. It
Yeah.
was just like everyone was so fucking laid back.
Yeah.
Everyone was very quiet too. Like every time we would go to a restaurant, I'm like, it sounds quiet in here.
Yeah, our loudies Northeast
Weird.
Coast asses are
Beautiful, a lot of animals, a lot of dogs. I mean,
of
I did
sheep.
hear that a lot of dogs do get hit on the road because a lot of winding
Yeah.
dirt paths. So maybe just put a vest on your dog or something. I didn't like that part. Heard a lot of doggy death stories.
Oh God,
but
I
other
did not
than
hear
that,
one when I was there.
Other than that, I did see Rocky the sheep dog do a little herding demonstration. I held a baby lamb.
That's cool.
Lamb, I got a baby lamb. I'd fucking pass out.
There was a lot of animals, which I really liked, and people, were very kind to the animals. So that's my assessment of Ireland. Thumbs up. Cliffs of Moher, breathtaking, most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my entire life, besides my own reflection, obviously.
Oh,
You.
Oh, me. But yeah, no, as far as like this show is concerned, I just wanted to talk real quick about, I guess I would call like what it means to have a crush. So this has been happening to me a lot. Like, people love having a crush on me, and they love telling me that they have a crush on me. This is like people's favorite pastime. And this is not like in my head. This is like conveyed to me directly.
Yeah, you got evidence.
So I think it's what people don't like. Having a crush is amazing and great. But like, if you're going to tell someone, like, you need to have a plan. And I think a lot of guys don't think that part through.
It's very kindergarten playground.
When you have a crush on someone and you go out of your way for months, years maybe, to make it known to that person that you have a crush on them. And then, they finally take I don't want to say they take the bait. It's not a trick, but like, they finally,
plunge.
you can give them a signal saying you may ask me out now.
or the minute that if you finally have my attention, like, you gotta have
Do something with it.
Plan. There has to be a plan. I'm not saying you have to have a plan that you want me to be your girlfriend for the rest of time. Obviously, you wouldn't know that until we actually got to know each other. But like, people have like these really intense crushes on me where I'm like, number one, how do you even fucking know me that well? I mean, do you know me from just like watching podcast clips? Like, I don't exactly know how you know me at this level that you think you know me at, because I go, there's like no one on the planet who knows. So that would be miraculous that you somehow figured it out.
That's part of a crush, is like, you don't know the person yet.
Right. You're creating a version of me, So, but like, you need to come in with some, like, so if the in this case the woman responds, and so you finally get what you wanted, you got the woman's attention, have a fucking plan
Do something with it.
on like what you want to do. I feel like when people have a crush on me, it's like the sketch Two Wild and Crazy Guys on SNL.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they're like the continue or basically it's A Night at the Roxbury, which I realized in the bathroom this morning is the same fucking sketch.
Same sketch.
The
Same characters,
sketch.
same motivation.
So you might be more familiar with that because they made a film out of it and it's, more modern times. But it's like, so in both these instances, in both these sketches or in the film, the guys are just like, they continuously hit on women at nightclubs. And then every now and again, you'll see the woman be like, okay, what do you got? And then they're like, I gotta go. And they're just like making jokes and shit. And it's like, so I feel like crushes in real life are exactly that. You're two wild and crazy guys. You're A Night at the Roxbury. And if someone responds and says, okay, what is, you have a crush on me, show me what you got. Because it's not my responsibility to come into it with a plan. In fact, I think that would be weird.
I think correct. A lot of guys.
It's show me what you got.
I think a lot of people.
All talk, no game.
No, they just don't know. It's like that thing that the Joker and Batman. He's like it's not about actually getting Batman because he doesn't know what he'd do with Batman if he actually got him. You know what I mean?
It's about like the victory of the
chase.
It's the chase.
Well, isn't it a similar sentiment to like... You're probably not expecting
the person to come through and be like, all right, let me hear, what's your offer? What do you want to do?
But it's like, if for months you are pursuing me.
That's true.
And
months is different.
You're having your friends tell me.
Okay.
I go,
yeah, what the fuck?
Okay.
Did this person enter a relationship by the time you responded?
Huh?
Did this person enter something with somebody else by the time you...
He doesn't know how to like ask you for a drink or like there's just no plan.
Like we've gone out a couple of times, but it feels like...
Where's this going? Go towards something.
And not even that, like...
But even if it's just sex.
It's not even that. We've done that. But it's like, I just feel like... Yeah, I feel like he doesn't know what he's doing in his like relationship life, which is so fine. But like, why did you interrupt my life? Right. That's kind of what annoys me. It's like, I was just
I see what you're saying.
living and existing peacefully on my own. And for months.
And he kept knocking.
And so I finally said, let me see what this person has to offer.
Yeah.
And it's like, so if you're not sure what you, and also like, not to be rude, but like, I'm not a casual person to pursue. You don't pursue fucking someone who's like doing really well in the same field. This is not comedian, but someone who's comedy adjacent. You don't pursue someone who's like doing really well in the field, who's obviously like not going to be just an easy little gal who's going to go along with whatever you say.
What are you talking about?
Substantially older than him.
Right.
Like, why did you just like, why did you
the frustration
interrupt my life?
I see. So the frustration.
It's like I'm kind of annoying.
Yeah, he was doing this for a while and you were like, okay, what? And he literally goes, is there a ghost? What?
So your feeling is that you were expecting this person to have a plan of action in the sense of
I don't want to be
you want to know if you're going in a direction that you might be in a relationship with this person.
Just even like a plan on how to get to know me, or like, why am I taking the reins on something that, like, I don't want to say I was, yes, I was something that I was unsure about. That's why it took so long to decide. I mean, nothing against this.
But also work hard to convince me, or
nothing
like try.
against this person. And like after our first date, which I mean, that was, I initiated the first date and it was like very last minute. So I definitely took him by surprise. Like day of, I was just like, do you want to get a drink? But that's why I like to do things. Like, I don't want to be like thinking about it for a long time. And so that was fine. I didn't expect for there to be like a plan there, but it does feel like it was just like, oh, I had no, like, I'm just excited to like be with you. And I go, okay, well then, I mean, if you're just excited to be around me, then obviously I don't think you have a plan on like how to handle me, more or less.
Yeah, true.
So what, and I mean, I feel like the same thing happened in like my last serious relationship where he was just like, and maybe it's like a young guy thing. He was just like so, and he said this to me. It's not like my assessment. He said this to me word for word. He was like, I was just so excited and surprised that you wanted to continue hanging out with me after our first date that I like didn't know what to do. Because I remember a couple months into dating, I had a conversation with him and like, I'm not expecting him to like fucking propose or like a relationship with someone that much younger to ever go into that direction.
But to build on.
But I was like, it's not comforting to hear after several months of dating someone like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, you don't want to hear.
I don't blame you.
You don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Right. And there's many times in your life, and you don't have to just be in your 20s when you will feel lost or you will need to get your navigations back on, whatever. I was trying to use a nautical term and it really lost me there. But yeah, especially for all these, men who seemingly want to be the masculine energy in the relationship. Well, it's like, if you don't want me to be the masculine energy in the relationship, you have to be the masculine energy in the relationship, which includes
making
steering
plans,
the fucking ship, boys.
In a direction of any kind.
Just like, I don't want to be having conversations and then me being like, I'm confused. I don't know maybe
it is a younger guy thing.
I just am not. I've experienced with older guys too, but I just been kind of been dating younger guys lately because I want a dick that works. But
yeah, for sure. Super helpful.
Of course you do.
When that dong works,
I know it's a big ask. I know it's a big ask.
Corinne, you're really picky.
But yeah, so I just and that's kind of how I feel. I just feel like why did you interrupt me? It's like it was like waking up a hibernating bear. Like I was fine. I wasn't looking for a boyfriend. I was just fucking existing, enjoying my time. But like now I finally gave in. I was interested. I was surprisingly like after the first date, I was like, I am interested in this person.
Nice. And then he's like, I gotta go.
I don't know. I mean, my frustrations have been the other way, where I feel like I'm prepared for these situations.
Right.
And then they go awry because it's, for whatever reason, it seems like the plan is almost surprising to somebody else, that there is a plan.
Right. You know what I mean? Well, and then so he'll make a comment you want a boyfriend, or almost like that's a bad thing. And I'm like, eventually perhaps I would like a boyfriend, but I'm saying like, I don't necessarily want you to be my boyfriend because I don't know you well enough. Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, but like, and also if you're saying like, is my intention with dating, like, I'm not going to continuously date someone that I wouldn't be interested in them being my boyfriend.
Yeah. Right, what I don't like? Building towards nothing.
Yeah.
And also just like, why would you like, I don't understand like why you would pick someone who's like high in your field.
Yeah.
If you're just trying to like casually fuck. And I also don't think that's what, and I also like, if you just want to casually fuck, like don't have all your friends say that this person has a crush on you.
Yeah, that's a guy thing. Is that a guy thing though?
Like, what is
Sometimes
the
they'll do
point?
anything to fuck.
I don't think that's a guy thing at all.
Okay.
I don't think that's like a. I don't send my troops out to the streets to tell people that I have crushes on them.
No, and based on other things, I don't think that's at all the thing. And listen, maybe I'm the asshole. Maybe he just got to know me, doesn't like me, but we haven't even talked really enough to
for that to happen,
for you to know that you don't like
an assessment cannot be made.
How long has this been going on?
Couple weeks. I guess maybe like a month, maybe a little less.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
go back to ignoring them.
I think that men's plan when they get involved with stuff is to take things as casually as possible, and
they love a cash,
and then hope and see that something sticks.
You gotta know when if you're a man in your 20s and you're approaching a woman in her late 30s, like you have to know that's not.
But that's the ultimate time of your life to waste other people's time, isn't it? Like when you're in your mid 20s or your late 20s.
Yeah,
maybe
but
not late as much.
You should know me as my colleague that I'm the last person you want to get angry.
Yeah, but maybe that's
for sure.
It could be this person being aloof. It could be this person.
Yeah,
also,
I don't think he's
maybe it's a play. You never know.
If it is, that's a lame
What do
move.
you mean?
Well,
How
look,
so?
you're sitting here going crazy about this, wondering what the plan is. Not crazy, but you know what I mean. Like you're sitting here, affected by it.
Sure,
I
did, but I don't know. I think this person is just like very like he's only been in one long-term relationship. And similar to how I had the same experience. So, from the day I turned 18 to 23, I was in a long-term relationship with one person. And so when you go out into the world, all is that relationship, and it is really weird. And so I get that. And I feel like I feel for him, but it's like, then why, like if I don't think your next level should be like advanced, like go to intermediate, don't go to advanced.
Sure,
You know,
I'm
advanced level girlfriend. You got to be prepared for that. And it's not a fucking surprise that I'm going to be advanced level girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting way to look at it. That you're looking at it more as that the behavior should be different because of your personal characteristics.
Yeah, there's novice, intermediate, and advanced, and I'm advanced, and I've made that very clear.
Yeah, I think a lot of men don't think like that necessarily. I think a lot of men just kind of do what they do, and they don't really like. What happens. Yeah, and I don't think that's a testament to you at all. I think it's just the way that a lot of men
guys
operate
take stock.
Yeah, right.
Right. Well, that's why
men just operate the way they operate, and like are impervious to change.
Right, and that's why I'm kind of bringing it to the table more as just like I don't know that anyone's ever told you should have a plan when you have a crush. A crush is I've had lots of crushes that I never told the crush.
Yeah, and it's just enjoyable to feel it.
I had no plan.
Right.
Because I had the crush privately long enough for me to not like them anymore.
Nice. Because you got to know them.
Yeah, because I got to know them enough.
Yeah.
You know, and I got to see them exist in other relationships.
Yeah. If you're gonna come up to your crush and say I have a crush on you and incorporate your friends in the thing, I would expect something to happen. I also feel like it might be like, you know, not if you're coming out of a long-term relationship and you're not far enough out of it, everything like the comfort of that, like nothing is gonna feel like that. You know, and you're going to constantly be seeking that immediate comfort, and you're going to feel uncomfortable dating someone new. And you might think like, oh, this is like because we're not a match, but it's really just like because I'm uncomfortable too in these situations. Yeah. Like I'm also uncomfortable. I'm a much more seasoned dater than this person, and I'm also uncomfortable. Yeah, dating's awkward and weird.
But yeah, so I just don't. Yeah.
Maybe he's realizing he's all talk as you are also realizing he's all talk.
Yeah, that could definitely be it.
Because sometimes when you're out of a relationship,
no clue what he's doing, you know?
Well,
it's sloppy. It's sloppy.
I've definitely done this before, and I've done this with women that I'm not as interested in. And even though I've said, like, I've definitely, like, I've laid it on thick for women every now and then and just be like, oh, wow. Like,
and you didn't mean it? You didn't mean it?
I don't know that I didn't mean it, but I think that when it came time to shit or get off the pot, as they say, I was just kind of like, I might have overplayed my hand here. I might have led this person on.
You might have wanted to like them as much as you said you did.
I think that might be it. Yeah, where it's just kind of like.
But this is like, it isn't a person who really dates other people, and like I know that because I'll be like, where the fuck is he doing? And then I'll be like literally at home with his roommates.
No, totally. And I'm not saying that that's what he's doing here, but I do think a lot of times with men, it's just kind of like. Maybe he does like have like a solid crush, but again, like really had no real idea, like didn't think you would go for it. And then once you do go for it, that makes it a reality that you have to think about by saying, am I going to pursue something real with this person that I had this crush on? Or was this just about kind of like...
Or am I too much of a coward?
Yeah, because it was just like, I mean, it doesn't need to jump to like, I'm your girlfriend.
Was
like,
this
I'm
just
not
about
crazy.
The serotonin hit of just like having Corinne say like, oh, okay, let's do this. Like, let's
it's like, you know, when you take on a new hobby and they encourage, or like a skill, and they encourage you not to talk about it until you're like already good at it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes talking about I'm doing this thing, that's the dopamine rush enough that you don't pursue it any harder.
It's like every writer that exists. I'm a writer.
For sure. Oh my God. I put the carpet for the horse with fucking everything.
Yeah.
So maybe that's in play too.
I just like, to me, I just don't, and it's not the first time, I just don't understand. Yeah. I like don't understand, like, it's like pardon the interruption, and then you have nothing.
I really do think, I think it's the thing that I said where I think that you giving in was enough of a hit for him, and he doesn't know what to do with it after the fact now, because he didn't think you would go for it. You did go for it, and now it's the reality is here, and it's just sort of like it wasn't part of his plan,
it literally is a night at the Roxbury.
Yeah. I think that's pretty.
My assessment was correct. Yeah,
that's like a very, very like yeah. I think it's exactly that, to be honest.
Lord Almighty.
You know what do you do with the rabbit once you get it?
Right.
You keep it in a cage and you give it carrot.
There are definitely, there's a few women in my realm right now that if they paid the proper attention to me, I would be disoriented, and I would be like, I'm shocked that this is happening.
I've gone through that so many times with guys. I'm like, oh my God, they like me, holy shit. But then I'm like, all right, bitch, it's go time.
Yeah.
Like, and then you fucking pump yourself up, and you know you're the bad bitch that you are, and you support yourself, and you get yourself through to like doing the thing.
Yeah, but I do think a lot of times men don't like being in
high pressure situations.
Well, it's not high pressure, but you're not in the point of leverage when you're going out with somebody that you had a crush on, who knows that you had a crush on them, and you're sort of like the female in this situation is caving to them, saying like, okay, fine, like you finally wore me down, let's go on this date. You're operating.
I didn't say it like that.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not saying anything that like you said. It's just like you're operating from this position where like you're kind of you're lower on the power totem pole than the other person.
But I feel like now he has the power because now I have no idea what the fuck is going on, and you've left me so confused.
Well, that's why you can either
cut it off, and
I respect it if it's a play.
Yeah,
I respect it if
really?
if
those
it's a
are
play.
the two things that I think is happening.
Play me.
Yeah,
don't play me, but I think because I think you do. I mean, and
you can respect the chess move.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I respect the move.
Yes.
Yeah. What I don't respect is if you just wasted my goddamn time.
Right.
If this is a move to get me fucking in my head, great. You did a great job.
Right.
You did a great job. And I was supposed to clean my apartment last night, and instead I just went to sleep.
Oh, you could call me. I would have done it, girl. Yeah. I hear you.
So those are the two things that I think are happening here. It's either a play, which is it's very possible, but I never assume that men are smart enough to actually carry out the chess move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Speaking from experience, because I always have the play in my mind and then I fuck it up.
Y'all get cold feet in every fucking stage of this goddamn relationship.
Or the other thing really could be that he just like the dopamine hit was enough from you just being like into it, and then after that he just had no idea what to do.
And I know that happened for the initial date, and then we'll get into this more on the bonus episode, but then I got really upset, as you guys remember, because of how that went down. But then he made a play when something went down, like, and then he went back for it, like, to fix it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I assumed he did if you're still talking about it. Yeah.
What the this is an instance where like 50% of the time I hang out with this person, and I mean there's only been like 4 or 5 times, I leave feeling great, and 50% of the time I leave feeling awful. Like, and I like awful. And I don't ever really feel like awful.
That's how my relationship started.
I just like confused and and then I start reading into too many things that like he said, and I'm like, I don't really think this is how he means this. I don't think it's a bad person. Like, he's not a comic. I don't think he's a bad person.
Right. That usually is the threshold. No, I mean, I think that...
but just like, why the fuck interrupt my life if you don't have a plan, my friend?
I think knowing now I know who this person is, I feel less...
Knowing that there was some repair between the last thing you talked about and this time, I do think it's a move now. Now I think it's a move.
I actually was going the other way. I think knowing that, now that I know who it is,
I think your preconceived notions about this person are incorrect, though, because I had the same feelings. It's not that who we think he is not who he actually is, which is why I thought, which is very
Machiavellian.
Yeah, which is why
I love that.
Again, which you can respect.
Right. I love when people surprise me. I love when I think I have them pegged. I know who you are. You're the kind of motherfucker does this, and then they don't, and you're like, oh, wait, what?
Really fun. I don't know,
because I'm so fucking, and especially in the past couple of years, I've gotten so fucking good at giving advice, like 2 men and 2 women about men, and it's like impossible to give it to yourself because I can't hover over myself.
Of course, yeah.
So it's
you
like
have to take the
I have
emotions
this
out of
fucking gift, and I cannot use it on myself.
Well, here's the thing, though. You have to take the emotions out of it and look at everything logically, and then
I'm great at that.
But there's certain things though that you just don't know if it's a play or if he just is all talk. And I mean, the only way to find that out, but the thing is, then you exit the game. That is the dance of courting or whatever to wherever you're going. Is, hey, what do you mean?
Oh, I'm going to.
No, hold on. What when you said...
I wanted to actually ask Mike first because I was like, Mike's been pretty on the nose with a lot of shit lately. And like your original assessment was correct on this person. Like, you know, when we talked about on the bonus episode.
The first time around?
Like you were like, it seems like he's trying to make good. And you were right. He was.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I was going to ask you was, why do you leave these interactions? You said 50% of the time you leave interactions feeling not great.
Well, the first time is what we talked about.
Right, of course.
And then the second time was just like, and this was like me, like I didn't even really notice it at the time. This was like when I was like, I just got an inkling. I don't know what you know.
You're psychic. So.
I just like was feeling like, I don't know. I was feeling like he was like a little distant. I mean, I was literally in another country. I think he was just letting me enjoy my time.
Okay. Yeah,
and then like he texted me like almost immediately when I was feeling that way. And it was about work, but he like made it very like, you know, smiley faces, hearts and flirty shit. Yeah. So which you don't need, was not necessary to do if you're trying to kind of like wean me off you.
Right.
You know? And also it's like, I know I'm interested, but I think there's always a disconnect between like how interested the person thinks I am and how interested I actually am, because I never let on. You know, let's hope he doesn't listen to this. And so I've been trying to get better at not playing it like so cool, because I play it too cool sometimes where people like think I don't even like them, you know? And so the other time was like, he loves to say terrible things after we have sex, and I don't think he means to, but like he like wanted me to meet up, but like we didn't even have any plans of like having sex. We just like, we were supposed to meet up, and then we end up like going back to his place and having sex. And I don't even know why. I was kind of just like, this is just what's happening. Like, it's not like I was against having sex, but like, I kind of like did actually want to have a conversation, but we were both being so awkward that we just ended up having sex. And then
classic.
Yeah, I mean, do you understand though?
Oh yeah.
Because especially like, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm really trying to like date without like completely sober, and I think it's making me like really nervous because I really hate dating. It makes me really uncomfortable, and so like not even one drink, like 0 drinks, just fucking raw dogging dating, and then so that I'm acting fucking weird, and then after, I don't even know how it came down, but like where he's like about to drive me home, and he was just like, well, like he the way I'm going to bring it up is going to make it seem worse than it was. Like he just like said something where he was like, we were having a conversation, and he was like, well, even if this doesn't work out, we're going to be friends, right? And like, I don't think he meant it.
I see what you're saying.
I don't think he meant it in the way that any woman on earth would interpret it, which is not good, which is like, you're trying to like, you know, say something. But like, then I remembered that later, and I was like, that's like a fucking awful thing. And I think he just like, I think he was genuinely concerned that he wanted to remain friends with me no matter what happens between us. But that is...
He just had an awful way to word it.
But I think I know exactly what's happening.
Okay, tell me. I really was like, excited to tell, like, ask you about
hearing this now and hearing all the other behavior and sort of the point where it feels like you are frustrated is the lack of plan, which you keep saying.
Yeah.
I think he really likes you, and he's trying to take it slow. And I think what he's trying to do... Well, then we have to
stop fucking pounding each other to Pound
Sometimes
Town.
It's hard when you've already taken each other to Pound Town.
Because we don't talk then.
All right. Well,
your language is through the dick and the vagina.
Then you have to find like a medium. But I think that the fact that you guys are having a lot of sex is probably a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing.
I just think... But him saying like, if this doesn't work out, then like obviously we'll still be friends.
And I go, we weren't friends before. That was my response.
That's true. I was going to say.
Yeah, funny.
What friendship?
I hate when people say that to me.
Friendship?
I go, we weren't fucking friends.
But I think what he's trying to do,
he doesn't want you to hate him.
No. I think that so like this all started because he was making it clear to you that he had this big crush on you, or that his friends were telling you. So what I think is happening is
he had other high level comics telling me.
He is trying, in my opinion, based off of what you've said, I think what he's trying to do is make it seem like he's not trying to rush into anything with you. Because he probably thinks that you're the guys we fuck girl that's like, you know, like not necessarily into that, right? Like you guys have hung out 5 times, right?
Well, he made a comment about, he made the weird comment like, you're like, oh, you're looking for a boyfriend, like as if I was definitely looking for a boyfriend, and I was like, you don't fucking know that.
He's getting information.
Okay, and then
in my mind,
and then after.
Jesus Christ, you could just listen to our show.
And then he was surprised after,
right there.
like, and then he like, I think like when we were like unpacking some stuff later, he explained like he acted weird because he like didn't expect us to have sex on the first date. And I go, well, I was like,
point, buddy. I mean,
and I said to him, what do you think you're going to get with one of the guys we fuck girls?
Right.
Like basically like
we're whores, y'all.
Well, if I'm not interested in having sex with you, I'm not going to go on a date with you.
Yes.
So this is
no point.
I stand by my assessment. I think what he's doing, because I have done that to girls that I've been like I've probably said that to like the last person that I like was very head over the heels over, like not that long ago. I at some point early on definitely said something like, well, yeah, like we're just like if this doesn't like work out, it'll all be like, I said something like that. But in the back of my mind, I was like, please God, let this work out. I like this person so much.
Right.
I want to date her so badly. You know
like,
what I mean?
I have to be careful with giving advice to myself because I always, I'm like, I kind of speak to myself like a therapist. Like I'm seeing myself in the brightest light, because that's how I genuinely see myself. But sometimes it can like skew giving advice to yourself because you're not seeing yourself realistically. You're seeing yourself like a mystical goddess.
Yeah.
And so to me, but I mean, I totally understand getting to know me and my personality not being for you. I totally get that and I accept it. But I feel like I just truly haven't given him enough to say yes or no on, even because we've just been having sex.
So I think
you gotta stop having sex.
Have you been planning on talking to him about like some kind of direction?
I like let him know that I was back from Ireland, and I was like, okay,
so you can ask me out again.
And then he also stopped watching my Instagram stories, which I know is like a fucking like.
I fucking hate that shit.
I know it's childish to say that, but it like really drove me crazy.
It's human.
I wouldn't.
I know, but it's.
I know. I've been there. Listen,
Jared Freed means
as a feminine man, I've been there. I know. I understand.
I know.
But listen,
it burns.
But at the same time, like my last person after we had stopped seeing each other was still watching my Instagram stories. It meant nothing.
I know.
Something. Come on.
No. But like. Yeah, and then
it's a little win.
Did you have plans? Do you have plans to talk to him about like, hey, what are we doing here?
No, because I just got back.
Balls in his court.
And so I just was like, okay. And like, then, and I realized yesterday was Easter and he does like celebrate. So I think like, I also tried texting him at a different, I texted him in the morning instead of at night. So it was like more serious time.
Yeah.
And he like asked about my trip and I sent some pictures or whatever. And then I asked about his week. And then, God, I feel bad like airing all his laundry. No one has any idea who this is though. And then, because I really, really rarely feel like I need help in this. And this one is just really confusing me. It's stumping me. And then I said, how was your week? And he was like, oh, we didn't do anything much. I like showed people, I had some friends over to the apartment. And I also agreed to meet up with my my ex to reconnect. And then I said,
to reconnect.
But I knew he was friends with his ex and like not weird at all. They were in a very long-term relationship. And I said, oh, like to get back together. And he said, no, just because we've been talking and like, just, like he said, I agreed to, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, so that all made sense. And then I was like, okay, well, this might also be why I'm like feeling in my intuition that he's a little distant because I think he's nervous about that meeut, as he should be.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
I would be so nervous,
and
even if I never wanted to get back to that person again.
When did they break up?
Maybe like September.
Guys, it's been long enough.
Maybe it hasn't. How long were they dating?
Like 6 years, like a long time. Years.
I don't know.
Right.
I mean, yeah, maybe that's possible. That could be in play here.
Right. And then that kind of annoyed me more because it's like, if you're not over your ex, why you fucking
right? And that's justified. That's sure.
Usually when you come to me.
Right. And it's so. Then it was just like. Yeah, and I was like, well, maybe that's just, and I'm like, I'm just giving him space because you need space to deal with that. I'm never going to try to be up your ass when you're trying to, figure that out. I truly don't think that he's interested in.
Doesn't sound like it.
In getting back, but it's also like, he then just seemed like confused about like dating in general.
Yeah. Maybe he is.
I mean, yeah, maybe he is.
Then he could be. Sounds
but
like he is.
I still think that I still stand by the fact that based off of what you've told me in the last like 10 minutes, you know, like I still kind of feel like there is,
because I've told you more bad than good. So like I've kind of told you all the bad and not even peppered in like some of the really nice things. That's like, because he'll say something like he said something like, oh my God, I feel so embarrassed. I'm saying all this out loud, but like he said something like he had a career change before he got into what he's doing now. And then he made a comment like, well, then I would have never have found you. Like that's a heavy ass thing to say to somebody.
I still think
that's
that
a heavy ass thing to say to somebody. If like, just like be like, have fucking intention when you speak to somebody.
I think he's doing the thing that I said, where I think he's really into you, and I think that he's not sure how to like take it slow,
so I think
properly,
that
but also make it seem like he's into you.
When he's taking up too much real
sense?
estate in your brain and the ball's in his court, the key is to distract yourself with things that actually excite you and you're interested in like whatever. Like every time you find yourself thinking about this person and you're like, no, ball's in his court, there's nothing for me to do, and you don't want to ruminate, which is fucking exhausting.
Problem is though, I literally have a fucking mental disorder that causes me to ruminate. So this is where the OCD is like fucking unmanageable, and I have to like fucking start tapping my fucking face and shit.
Do you think that you can't ask this person out though? You think that that's still like whack?
No.
What do you mean ask this person out? We've already been out several times.
And the ball's in his court.
And it's not like I want him to be my boyfriend. I just don't know him well enough.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, why does the ball have to be in his court?
Well, because we've kind of been like going back and forth, you know? And so I feel like
she was like, I'm back.
I reached out. We had a conversation. He knows where I'm at. Like, fucking hit me up this week.
I mean, you could do that. Or you could, I don't know. If he doesn't hit you up, then I guess you don't have to worry about it. But also, it sounds like it's like driving you not nuts, but it just.
Well, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something like by this weekend if I don't hear, obviously, because like that's kind of been the pattern, and I think my trip kind of threw it off a little bit. So the pattern is like we hang once a week, which is like ideal, getting to know you.
To me, if you guys have hung out enough times at this point, like 4 or 5 times, I don't see why you can't be like, hey, I'm around Thursday night. You know, like I don't know if you're free, why don't we like get a drink or whatever? You know?
Right. Well, I was kind of just waiting for him to like get past like meeting up with his ex too.
Yeah. When is that supposed to happen?
I don't know. I didn't ask the day.
So yeah, I would say give it by like middle of the week. If you haven't heard from him, I would give it a shot and reach out. I don't see why you can't. And I think that's the thing.
For sure.
Honestly,
you know
I mean, at this point, I just don't want to look fucking stupid.
I get that. Yeah.
But if you're being honest about like, hey, this is confusing, what's going on? No one will ever look stupid saying that.
And
I hate looking stupid for like a fucking crush I didn't even ask to be goddamn involved in.
Yeah, I get you.
So irritating.
But I think my point is that you have the ability here to get, I don't know if you want to see resolution to this, but you have the ability to reach out and say, what's up? And hey, we can get a drink. And then, I mean, hopefully you'd hope that if this person's not interested, and by that point they would say that, or they would, you know, it gives you the ability to say like,
and then I'll be annoyed because I go, I don't even know what there's to not be interested in because we haven't fucking spoken enough.
Right. I still think I stand by what I said, knowing now, like hearing this sort of like the awkwardness of some of the behavior, because I've been there before with somebody that I've really liked where I've tried to play it cool and been like, oh yeah, I'm really cool about this situation. It's all good. Like, yeah, well, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But in my head, I'm like, God, I hope this works out. Or I'll cry. Please, God, I hope I like this person so much, you know. But you can't like think about how much worse you would feel, how much pressure you would feel if this guy was constantly like, I like you so much, I like you so much, I like you so much.
No, I don't like that either. But it's like now we went all the way in the other fucking direction. Well, but the thing is, and like he played, like the reason I was like receptive to him hitting on me is because he played it like really well. Like a couple times would like intensely like hit on me, but then would give me lots of space. Like that's what I need. I need a lot of space. But like then when you make the move, like make a purposeful fucking move. Yeah. And he did that.
Yeah. So then, I mean, I would give him the chance to make another purposeful move. You did just get back from Ireland, you know? It's not like it's impossible given how long you've been back.
Right, because we hung out literally the day before I left, and I go, now I'm like fucking reviewing that, and I go, there's not enough, like there's nothing that could have happened. There's nothing that happened in that moment because I didn't like that comment about the friendship, and I didn't like the text exchange that we had when I got back.
Yeah, I mean, I can get that.
Confusing.
But I don't know. Maybe give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt for now.
Yeah.
And then I think that if it continues to feel weird or whatever, then it's early still.
Yeah, at the end of this
trip
week,
is a
get
factor,
clarification
Corinne.
if he hasn't.
I mean, you've been gone for what, like 9 days?
Less. Like,
Less?
I've been
I
gone
don't
for a
know.
week. It was a
Okay.
week.
So yeah, all right. But still, I mean, yeah, when you're
I left for a week. He's with another.
no, it's just like you gotta when somebody leaves and comes back, you have to figure out kind of like the right way to
Get back into it.
yeah, just like, because you're also, depending on how well he might know you, like, I think that the people that are close to you know that you need a certain level of space. Like, it's not like, all right, Corinne's back from Ireland, let me hit her up right now.
For sure. But I was like, hi, I'm back.
Right. That's true too.
I mean, I
yeah.
didn't do it the second I did it the day after I got back. I didn't like the plan didn't land. I was like, hey, what's up?
Right. I landed.
I'm not insane, but yeah.
I think see how this week goes. I think that's the best way
It's
to
like
do it.
literally made me tired this weekend thinking about it.
I think you see how this week goes. I think if you haven't heard from him by like midweek, I would reach out. I don't see why you can't,
Yeah.
And you should hopefully have more clarity on it by the end of the week. If he's acting weird still, then like fuck it. Like forget it.
I mean, he is kind of weird in general, but
Yeah.
I like that though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
All right, guys. You know what else is fun?
Today's guest.
Yes.
She is fun.
Yeah, she's very fun. She is everybody's favorite GILF. And if you don't know what that means Grandma, I'd like to fuck. Okay. And she is so good at shaking her tits on Instagram. And this was such a lovely conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Ruby Lynne. We are here with America's favorite spicy grandma, Ruby Lynne. So happy to have you here. What title would you give yourself? I want to make sure.
The title I use is GILF.
GILF. Okay.
GILF, that's
GILF
perfect.
and MILF, but
Yes.
either one.
So I was gonna say you said you're everyone's you're a spicy grandma earlier, and then I was reminded of like the ageism of the porn industry, and I'm like, that's such like you're like anybody over 40 is a grandma, and then if you're over 60 you're a great grandma, but you actually do have grandkids.
I do.
So you're literally a grandma. So I'm like, oh okay, this isn't like an ageist porn industry thing. This is like literally your life.
Because I think in other parts of the country also, like, I mean, like, yeah, we're not mom, but we're like lots of people 10 years ago were moms. Because I get so offended when people say like Happy Mother's Day to me, and I go, oh yeah, no, I mean actually possibly in a couple of years too old to be a mom anymore, a first time mom at least. So it's just we're on like New York time,
Right.
How many grandkids do you have?
I have 9.
You have 9
that's so
grandkids.
fun.
9 grandbabies.
And how many children do you have?
5.
5. Okay.
Wow.
When did you have your
Damn.
first child?
I was 27.
Yep.
We're a bit of a blended family.
Okay.
So I actually gave birth to 3 of the 5,
Okay.
but claim them all as my own.
Okay.
Nice.
Yes. So
Oh, so are you married currently?
I am.
Okay, nice. Is that
Was that a secret?
Yeah.
you
do
laugh.
some people who pay for your videos think you're not married? Is that like
They
part of the
do.
fantasy?
Yes.
I feel like guys would love a married woman. You know what I mean? Like, you know how like gay men love a guy who's straight? Like not all, but like some are like, ooh, I want to like convince you to take you on the other side. I feel like men would probably enjoy the fact that you're married.
No one respects the boundaries of marriage anyway, so I wouldn't really
They
be
don't.
too concerned about it.
They don't. But it's kind of, it's both sides.
Sure.
So they want to know they have a chance with you.
Yes, exactly.
So if you're married, they feel like there's no chance, although
Yeah.
they don't dig deeper to find out that we're ethically non-monogamous and we
Right.
each do our own thing. And so, it's just opens up a whole nother story. But
That's
Yeah.
fun. Have you been ethically non-monogamous most of your relationship?
most of our relationship, all of it. Yes.
Oh, wow, all
In
of
fact,
it.
that was a requirement when I got divorced. I have the same story as most women do, was in a, abusive relationship,
Oh, okay.
marriage that produced 3 amazing kids. And when I got divorced out of that situation, it was a requirement that my next relationship long-term be ethically non-monogamous.
Nice.
I was not going to get stuck in that.
Okay, so it was a feeling of stuckness that you didn't want.
Right. I just wanted options.
Yeah.
It's like, I may never take that option, but I want going into this, I'm all about transparency. And
Yeah.
so I want you to know that I might call that card someday and take that option.
Yeah. So you wanted to be like more authentic to yourself in this relationship.
Yes.
That feels so much better.
Yes.
When you say, and I will get to there's so many questions I want to ask you about your videos and your OnlyFans and all that stuff. Abusive, when you were in an abusive relationship, what, do you mind talking about? Like, was it physically, emotionally, all of it?
All the above. All the above.
And what was the thing that made you leave? Because I'm always interested in those points. I feel like we look at people in abusive relationships and we're like, how can you do this? But there's so many people in them that there's obviously a strong pull.
I would say the day that I said, I'm not going to take this anymore is when one of my boys was physically punched by his dad.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it was like, okay, you can wail on me and treat me and gaslight me and do all this stuff. But when you do that to your, 8-year-old child, 9-year-old child, not going to fly.
Yeah. Yeah. And then did you have to have a safety plan leaving that relationship if he's violent?
I did. And I got super lucky. I was a stay-at-home mom forever, like 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had been brainwashed by, my boys' dad to think that I would never be able to get away. Like, you have no job. I have a job. You're nothing, this kind of thing. And luckily there was a mom at my school that I had become friends with. Our kids were in the same grade, and he became more and more, abusive in public, and they witnessed this. And she and her husband got me aside and said, this is not okay. And, they knew what was happening, and they helped me make a plan.
Oh, wow. Great. So it was good that they approached you. Obviously it helped. It helped to get you out.
They're like, you got to talk
what's the
to
best
a
thing
lawyer
to do in those situations? Talk to a lawyer. Wow. What did he do in public? What a dipshit. Wow.
Degrade me in public. And
God.
And I think it's like one of those things where you think, like, if this is what he treats you like in front of everybody, we can only imagine what he's doing when you guys are in the privacy of your own home.
Right. And then he started to call me names and do that like in front of my parents. And so that was like, wow. And that was shocking to them because I'd kept the secret for almost 15 years. They didn't know anything about it. I think they might have had an idea, but
it's wild. Like the human psyche is so delicate. And I don't think we really pay attention or give respect to that part of everybody's human psyche. I was watching a documentary about this girl's dad moved after he got out of prison, moved into the dorm room with her, or this
Stolen Youth. Yeah.
Stolen Youth on Hulu or Netflix, I think. They moved like her second year of college. She lived with a bunch of her friends and they were having like this amazing college experience. Her dad got out of jail, pushed his way into staying at the dorm room, and then eventually created this like sex cult where he was super abusive. But it was so fascinating to watch how he got in, how he made people, he asked everybody, what's your trauma? And then he made them, and then he said things like, you didn't deserve this. And so they felt the safety and this kinship with him. And then the abuse, the physical and verbal abuse that this man bestowed on these kids, and they moved in with him after college. My gosh. So you go, oh wow, our human psyche, it's so vulnerable to being seduced by an abuser. It's wild. So it's so great to hear that you got out.
I did. We got out. Yeah.
And would you mind sharing what like your exit plan looked like? Cause I think that's the thing. Like we've talked, on the show definitely about domestic abuse, but I think that's kind of where people get stuck a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I had no idea what to do. And thankfully my friends at the time, they were on the internet. The internet was a baby back then, early 2000s. And they were looking, this is what you need to do. And they printed it out. And so, number one is go get your own bank account, at a different bank. And, number two was I went into our bank accounts and I took half of everything and transferred it over.
Oh, incredible.
He didn't pay the bills. He didn't know what we had.
Wow.
So I was like, okay. So I snagged half of what we had. Now, had it been a situation where you have a spouse that is involved in your finances and knows exactly what you have, I don't think you could do that, but definitely getting that bank account.
Establishing financial independence.
And then consulted a lawyer. My friends pulled together, got me an appointment with a lawyer. And when I went in there and said, this is what's happening, he just laughed. He
What?
said, you will
the
get
what?
everything.
No. I was like, he laughed at
Because
you?
I'm like, I'm probably going to have to, move and all this stuff. He's like, no, are you kidding me?
Really?
You're going to get everything. You've been a stay-at-home mom for 8 years.
Yeah.
You quit your career to stay home.
Yeah.
And he made good money, thankfully. So yeah.
Wow. And then what was the look on his face when you said, we're done? And you did such a great job having this backup plan. So like the second you could say you're out, you actually could physically leave him.
Yes. So I actually got him out of our house, and I made sure my kids were out of the house and just said, we need to talk about some stuff. It was just so volatile that I'm sure he saw it coming.
Okay.
And I just said, I want you to know, I've seen a lawyer. Here's the thing. You really don't have a choice. This is your choice.
What did he say?
And he was pretty shocked, I think.
Yeah.
Because I was like, here's the deal.
He was
You're
relying
leaving.
on you being weak, or like you're not having that the gall in his eyes to stand up for yourself.
Yeah. I was like, and here's the deal. You're leaving. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
The kids are not going to change schools.
Right.
And so he did. He left. I gave him half the furniture. I bargained and said, I won't go after your retirement if you give me the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
did you have anyone like physically outside like your apartment for was there any fear that he was going to lash out physically during that conversation?
I wasn't scared. I had finally come into my own, and it was like, my friends who had helped me, of course, were on speed dial in case I needed anything. We always did have a safety plan, that I would call them. This is what would happen. And so I wasn't at that point. I was like, no, this is happening.
Wow, that's incredible. And so, okay, so where does the being a sexy GILF come in?
Well,
because you're really good at it. I was looking at your Instagram. I'm like, damn, this is great.
You.
Thank you. Your sexuality is like, I love the way that you express it.
Well, thank you. So I've always been hypersexual, except for that 15 years. I had 3 immaculate conceptions.
So did you guys fuck your ex?
No, I mean, rarely. We had 3 kids. That was it.
And that you fucked 3 times, basically.
Basically,
wow.
I feel like that was it because he was not very sexual. So he wasn't adventurous in bed.
Wow.
And did you know that before that you got married, or was that something that kind of was like revealed a little bit more during the actual marriage relationship?
Revealed after we got married because, when you're dating, it's that honeymoon period.
Sure.
So you're just fucking like rabbits everywhere. And then we got married, and then that's when everything went wrong.
Wow.
I feel like that happens a lot of time. I've like heard people would have like relationships for like 10 years that were great. And then they just something about like, I don't know, like people feel suffocated when the word marriage gets introduced and change their behavior.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I was an idiot. There were definitely red flags.
Sure.
I look back now and I'm like, oh my God.
Hindsight, baby.
That time that he, got so mad that he upturned all the couches. That should have been.
Oh my God.
That should have been a red flag.
Yeah.
But,
if he's throwing furniture, that's a red flag.
When you're young and your goal is you want to be a mom and you meet somebody that wants that same goal and
for you to be a mom, that was his goal too.
Yes, we want
a lot of men out there like that.
Yeah. Love a woman that wants to have my kids.
So, but the GILF thing, I got divorced. I lost 100 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And for my 40th birthday, I danced at a local strip club on amateur night.
That's so cool.
And made like $75. And then
that's great.
I've always loved the adult industry. Even when I was in my late teens, 18, 19, I went and bought a Playgirl at the Minute Mart. It's
nice. Wait, a Playgirl. So that's when they sexualize the men.
Yes.
And I got to get one of those because I do a bit on stage about how like society isn't good at objectifying men and we're so good at objectifying women. We're crushing it at that. But like we haven't really gotten good at objectifying men in pop culture, and then pornographically, it's like we're trying, but it's not.
Well, we have to. If we objectified men, then men at the top would have to be hot, and they're not.
It's true.
So that would be a problem.
Yeah, good point.
But that really planted the seed back then. And, I went to college. I didn't go to college until I was 42.
Wow.
Because my boys' dad passed away a couple years after we divorced.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay, I need I need education. So I actually went to college at 42, got dual degrees in 4 years time.
Wow.
Went to Portland State University. I was a single mom, raising these kids. And
oh my God.
What did you get degrees in?
so I have dual degrees. I have one in pre-med and one in public health.
Oh my goodness.
That's so badass.
One in public health with an emphasis on community education.
Oh,
and then
excellent.
my minor is in gender and sexualities, again, because that's where I
you've
was
always been
drawn
interested.
to.
Wow. Okay. So you had this amateur night at a strip club for your 40th birthday. That's amazing. Were you horny when you were stripping? Because I like have this fantasy of, if they could just do a night where like you could guest strip, but like have like a mask on. I would love that because I don't know why, but the idea of them like I wouldn't want to get recognized, but I also just the idea of somebody seeing your face while you're being like horny on stage is so vulnerable. But my pussy out with a mask on, not vulnerable for some reason in my head.
I don't remember being horny. I mean, that summer was like spring break for me, you know, that I believe it was summer of 2006. So I was entering wet t-shirt contests.
Hell
and
yeah.
I was bartending at night to make money, extra money, because as a single mom.
Yeah.
And
going to school. My God.
yeah, I wasn't going to school quite yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I started school in 07. So that's after my 2 years of spring break.
You deserve that, girl. I'm so happy you had that.
Oh, I need to get my head on straight. Let's figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life at 40 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. And what, like, I imagine like, you know, coming out of an abusive relationship, you know, people say this like coming out of an addiction or coming out, like if you have an abusive relationship with like a parent or a sibling or whatever, a family member, like your self-esteem takes a hit.
Oh, yes.
And how like was stripping like and doing that kind of stuff and having like your fun spring break years, as you say, like, did that help with your self-esteem of like reconnect you with who you are?
What helped was losing 100 pounds.
Okay.
Because not only did I shed
That'll
that
do it.
abusive relationship, I shed that weight that I put on because
symbolic.
for 15 years, I had, you know, drowned my feelings in food.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was 100 pounds that you had gained during the course of the relationship. You hadn't entered at that weight.
I had always been heavy my whole life, but yes, I really packed it on.
That's interesting.
Really packed it on.
Yeah. I mean, for me, anytime I look at a photo of me at the end of like a relationship, like when I'm not happy, like you can see it physically. And then you're like, okay, shedding this person.
Yeah.
That feels good. So, okay. So when does the sexy GILF stuff?
Sexy GILF stuff really started briefly in the fall of 2019.
Okay.
And so my current partner and we've been together 15 years now. I wanted to travel. I was a social worker. So I became a social worker after I got out of college.
Oh, nice.
And, you know, I wanted to save the world and help people.
Yeah. I
And-
imagine you, as a social worker, you run into a lot of women that have been in your situation.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And the thing is, it doesn't pay very much.
Yeah. Right. Unfortunately. Such
So-
an important job, but such a little paycheck.
I wanted extra money. I had been in the swing lifestyle the entire time that I've been with my current partner. And I decided, you know, I need to make extra money. I don't know what to do. I fell upon this Facebook group called Scarlett's Chambers, which is still there, by the way. I've checked recently.
Nice.
And these ladies were talking about selling their dirty panties online and just making all this money. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have dirty panties. I can make money.
Yeah.
So
I think there's all been a moment when we've all been like,
Yeah, I'm like,
I
it's
have
dirty
dirty
anyway.
panties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're doing your laundry and you're like, man, if I didn't clean these and I put them in the mail to somebody, that would be way more lucrative.
Doubling profits. Yeah.
So I literally I read that article, went and made an account. I'm like, I'm just going to go grab a pair of panties out of my drawer.
Yeah.
Grabbed them out, took some really awful selfies and posted them.
Okay.
Didn't do that great. Like I sold them, you know, I sold a few pairs.
There's always a taker.
Somebody always wants
guy.
those, you know.
Some guy's going to want them.
It didn't really do that great. And so I ended up deleting my account.
Okay.
And
Like, how many did you sell?
maybe I sold 10 pair.
Okay. Over how long of a period of time?
Couple of months.
Okay,
You
got
know,
it.
maybe not even 10
For how
pair.
much?
Maybe 5 pair for like $25 a piece.
Okay.
And so then said, no, this isn't working out. And my partner and I went on vacation January of 2020. And I'm like, I'm so determined. I have an entrepreneurial spirit, always have. I'm like, we got to figure out a way to make money. You know, I'm already burned out on social work. I've only been doing it a few years. And so I said, I really think the panty thing, if we take it serious, let's treat it as a business, not just me making an account and thinking it's going to get me rich. Let's take professional pictures. And I told my partner, I'm like, I want you to be a 50-50. So I want you to become a photographer, basically, and be my photographer. And he's like, okay. So we come back, and then it's right before the pandemic started. We got in at the great. We had a nice camera because back in my vanilla life, I had a YouTube channel. So I'm like, learn to use that camera. Here's the book. I don't know how to do it. Yeah. Took some really great pictures, posted them, made another account, rebranded as Ruby Lynne. It went wild. Wow. Wild. I was
how many were you selling?
I was booked out 6 weeks at a time for daily panty wear.
Booked out. So you would have to wear the panties all day.
Right. So my deal was I wore them for 48 hours.
Oh, 48.
2 days.
That'll get stuff on them. Yeah.
And you get a picture and then mailed within the US, discreet, packaged.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then did you have, because I noticed I was reading one of your bios, but there was an add-on option for buying the dirty underwear. And so my question to you is, what are the various add-ons?
Right.
And have you ever had an add-on requested that you were like, nah?
Yes. Oh, yes. So I had a menu. An add-on would be, and this is how I got into making content and eventually OnlyFans and live webcam is they would say, I want you to get, I don't know what I can say on the podcast.
Literally anything.
Whatever the most
make it actually as graphic as possible.
Yeah. They're like, I want you to get fucked in the panties. I want them full cum, I'm like, okay.
The guy to come and you come?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And
do not clean that up.
Right. Don't clean it up. And that's how I want it. Okay. That's an extra $30.
Okay.
Then the next guy would be like, I want all that, but I want you to video it. Here comes the content.
That's yeah.
So, okay, well, that's going to be
enter video camera,
not just and that's going to be $75. I used to sell stuff way too cheap.
I was going to say, I was like, that's a deal.
Yeah. Panties have tripled in price now.
Yeah.
More than that.
Yeah. I mean, especially depending on what panties you're sending them, like the panties themselves could be $25 a pair.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't get those. I get the 8 for $35 at Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
Okay. That's still
it's a good deal.
That's like better than Walmart panties. That's
right.
Not bad. Okay.
And so that's how it all got started. And then I'm so entrepreneurial. I'm like, okay, I read this. I started Googling and then live webcam. First, we did content, all the videos that the guys would buy, I would resell on ManyVids.
Okay.
So I made a ManyVids account. But again, I'm Googling. I'm quite a researcher. I'm like, what's the best clip site?
Yeah.
And I started to learn the lingo and the language. And I started to follow people who were big in adult work. And, I was just a sponge because I was living authentically at that point.
Yeah. You were happy and horny and making money off of
Absolutely.
it. That's the best.
And so how old are you at this time when you're entering the adult industry?
53.
53. Okay. And then what is the I don't want to say competition, but what is that age bracket like? How big's the pond?
Yeah.
Narrow.
That's what I was thinking.
Nice. Narrow.
Nice. Why do you think that is?
Well,
seems like there's like an ask for it.
Yeah. Right? I talk about a lot of this on my podcast when I interview, because I interview mature creators. I think that
mature, that word.
Sure. I know.
Oh, that word.
A lot of people in this industry get in young. And then, there is a lifespan to the industry.
Yeah.
And a lot of people choose to get out of it. And so I think those that have made it to their 50s, have either entered it right at their 50s or they've been in it a long time. And so, initially I entered it as a MILF. The MILF segment is flooded.
Yeah.
I mean, people who aren't even real life MILFs are MILFs because they have, that look, or that's how they market it, and great for them. They're making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
when does MILF start? It's like 30,
27.
Yeah.
Right.
Or younger. I mean, you could be 23 and have a kid. Technically, you're a MILF.
Of course. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow. The ageism.
Okay.
Right? Ageism.
It's so bizarre. But like you seem like a living, breathing example of like, fuck that.
Absolutely.
Even though, but you're using it to your advantage by marketing yourself as that so you can get that paper.
I absolutely was like, fuck it. I have a point to prove.
Yeah.
And I'm proving it.
Nice.
And the point is that women are still sexy.
Absolutely. That you're sexy, that you can enter this business at any age. I mean, there are creators out there who are 70 that I've come across now.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all.
And it's amazing.
I'm so glad that women are still horny in their 70s. That's lovely. I never want to lose that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like I've lately, like I've been witnessing like older women just, walking down the street. And I'm like, man, I wonder if your sexuality kind of depletes and you stop seeing yourself as a sexual being, because that feels sad to me.
Right.
And I hope that never happens. And it feels like, you can go as far as long as you want.
Exactly. And I mean, it's really all up to you. That bbur is a state of mind.
Yeah. Right. You either fall for society's bullshit or you go, fuck that. And you stand your ground, you stand your foundation, and whatever insecurities come up, you just say, fuck it. You let them wash over you.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, and that's how it all got started. And, content creation, we started live webcamming, and then OnlyFans was blowing up.
Right.
I resisted OnlyFans all of 2020.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm not buying into it. I see everybody complaining about it and this and that and the other thing. And then 2022, I realized I was leaving money on the table.
I was going to say, I was like, you're leaving a ton of money on the table.
So much money.
So how did you, is that like, did something finally happen? You finally crunched some numbers, or?
I think just with the popularity, OnlyFans had become a household name.
Yeah.
So really to resist that, I had tried a different little fan site that just, I think wasn't getting any traffic on. So I just really realized that it's a household name, and I'm kind of a fool for not jumping on that, bandwagon. And so I did, created an OnlyFans account. Didn't do that great. Even having a huge webcam following.
Oh, really?
Transfer
through
over.
webcam, it didn't really transfer over. And there's a reason, because a lot of webcam sites don't allow you to advertise your OnlyFans.
Oh, because they want to be making all your money. They want to be making a cut of.
And so I was kind of at this crossroads where I didn't have a huge social media following. I maybe had 17,000 followers on Instagram and 5,000 on Twitter, which not great. So the fall of 2022, I knew I needed to do something. I'm like, the potential, my income was doubling, because the income I made in 2020, that doubled in 2021.
Wow.
And it actually doubled again in 2022.
Nice.
But in 2021, I'm like, what year am I? I hired a coach.
Oh,
I hired an OnlyFans and social media coach.
Incredible job.
An OnlyFans coach?
Yeah, there are OnlyFans coaches.
Specifically for the adult.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And I had a couple of women on, line that I was following who had huge millions of followers. I just knew they were killing it. Of course, they're in the top 0.01% or whatever. Right. And I'm like, wow. So I kind of looked at them both. I went to an adult conference the fall of 2021 and actually met in person Romy Chase. And I ended up hiring her as my OnlyFans and social media coach. And that changed my life.
Wow. It's incredible. It's like, I'm just imagining a pageant coach in your head, but it's just put your right tit out.
Yeah. Just give one pussy lip, and then they're going to want to pay for the other one.
This is incredible. So what did Romy do for you? What were the things that?
Well, Romy is a self-made woman. I mean, I don't know if you know her story, but she immigrated from Poland and just built this amazing business all on her own with zero help. And so her attitude, she's kind of black and white. I love Romy, if you're listening, but we just got along because that's how I am.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't need all the fluff. Just tell me what to do. Yeah. I need a checklist. I'm very self-starter.
Yeah.
And I was still working. Now, mind you, I was still working my social work job.
Wow.
8 to 5 all through those years.
And they didn't, were you under a different name so they couldn't find you?
Well, I had my legal name.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Got it.
But anyway, Romy, I worked with her and it just blew it up. Things for social media like algorithms. She knows all about the algorithms. She taught me all of that,
Wow.
how to run my OnlyFans. So I totally deleted my old account,
Wow.
made a whole brand new account. and started.
Did she see anything wrong with like the way you were branding yourself, or did?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what's like
a mistake you were making?
My first OnlyFans account, for that $14 a month, they were getting full-length sex videos. Full-length masturbation. I mean, so are they going to tip because they're getting everything free? No.
Right. Oh, the tipping. Right.
If you send out a pay-per-view, are they going to buy it? No, because everything's on the feed.
Right. Right.
But you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I knew that I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. That's really wise.
How much do you charge nowadays per month on OnlyFans?
So actually my OnlyFans is $9.95 a month.
Oh, wow.
You can get in your first month like half off. But it's pay-per-view. So you want to see it, you're going to, have to unlock it. But the benefit of that is that fans can unlock the kind of content they want to see.
Right.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because some people come to me and they're like, I don't want to see you with another guy. I just want to see you solo. Okay, awesome. So you can unlock the pay-per-views that are solo.
Wow.
Or vice versa. Someone's like, I don't care if you're solo. I want to see you getting railed.
Aw, that's sweet.
I know.
Was there any fear or anxiety around your family or people who knew you in the more professional, like boring professional aspect, finding out?
Yes. So that's a whole story. I was well aware. My partner and I knew that the minute we put ourselves on the internet, once it's there, it's there. So we went in eyes wide open.
Yeah.
But we weren't ready to tell people.
Right.
It's like, how do you make that announcement? We have some news for you. Like, you're pregnant? I'm
getting railed online, kids. All right. Do you want to go to Golden Corral or?
Well, eventually that's how it is now. But in the beginning, it was like this big secret. We lived this secret life. Yeah. I did. My closest 2 girlfriends knew, and that was about it. I always had hoped my work would find out, because if I got fired, that means I could do this full time, which is what my dream was.
Oh.
The kids didn't know. They're all adults now with their own families. They didn't know, but the fall of 2021, my partner and I were like, you know what? It's time to tell them. We're starting to travel a lot. I was looking at hiring a publicist. I wanted to go big time.
Yeah.
And
they're definitely going to find out.
Right. And then you'd rather them find out from you.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't want them to find out by stumbling on a video.
Yeah, one of their friends sending it to them.
Well, that's how they found out.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
So what was the video?
I really don't know. It was a Pornhub ad for a campsite that I'm on. But yeah, we decided, you know what, all the kids are going to be here around the holidays. I mean, we're not going to pop this on Christmas morning, of course, but
God, if you were my family, I'd be loving it. It'd be great.
But it's time to tell them. They're getting suspicious because we're starting to travel a lot, different things.
Wow, social work's paying great these days.
Yeah. Just different things. And so we were on cam one night doing a cam show, and our daughter text me and said, I need to talk to you guys immediately.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this feels different. This feels really different. So I was finishing up a show. I said to my partner, why don't you go downstairs and call her, and I'll finish up. So when I finished up and walked out in the hall, she was on speaker, and I heard the word Pornhub.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. Okay. So go downstairs. And so what had happened is a childhood friend of my kids' had seen an ad on Pornhub for a campsite that we were on, screenshot it and text it to all the kids.
Oh,
all
sweet.
the adult kids.
That's that's a weird move.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if I see him in person, I'm probably going to smack him.
Yeah.
Sure. So it was out, and we decided right then and there, hung up with her and called every kid and said, I heard you got a text. Well, it's true.
Yeah.
And out of the 5 kids, one of my kids, my son and his wife, decided to disown us.
Wow.
So
did they say why?
We had a little bit of issues with them over the years.
Okay. So they almost used it as an out?
Absolutely. Yeah. This was the nail that sealed the coffin or whatever. Yeah. And so it was devastating, to say the least. I was devastated. I probably could have checked myself into a mental hospital because I can't see my grandkids.
Yeah.
But then after I calmed down, it was like, I'm 54 years old. I mean, you shouldn't be surprised. Look at my degrees.
Yeah.
We had a very I raised my kids very open-minded.
How so?
So we didn't keep sex a secret. Like, I wanted them to be educated about it. I wanted them to know what the ramifications of their actions were.
Right.
It's like, I don't want you to have sex, but I know you're going to. I've been your age.
Right.
I kept a box or a drawer full of condoms in the bathroom. I mean, their friends would come over to our house because their parents weren't open-minded like that. And so we always talked about it. As I was getting my degrees, we had the most hilarious dinner time conversations.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
So I had a class once, it was sex education at the university. And then one of the things was all the funny names for a penis. And so at the table, it's just like, oh my gosh. Okay. So, what do you, and you're all in the locker room. What do you say? And so we just had this hilarious conversation. I wanted to normalize talking about our bodies.
So it's part of like the culture that you created within your family. It was like, we are very open about sex. And it's a very sex positive culture in your family, which is a rare thing to experience.
The kids used to make fun of my partner and I because they could hear us. I mean,
okay. So
we're out to dinner one time and they're all like, mom and so, you can hear them. And I'm just like, can I just put my head under the table right now? So they were.
Wow. So they couldn't have been that shocked.
No, all the other kids.
They couldn't have been that surprised.
The other 4 are fine with it. They support it. They're like, hell yeah, go make your bag, mom.
Yeah.
I also just don't really understand. It's like, it's not like you have to ask permission. You're the parent. I mean, also everyone's grown, so no one has to ask permission for anything. Like, it was honestly just a courtesy of you to call them and have this discussion anyway.
Right.
And like for the grandkids, like, it's like they're way too young. It's like, they're not going to be on Pornhub for years.
Yeah.
So I don't see the issue here. Yeah. Except for, as you said, like they just made it an excuse.
Yeah. They did. It was an excuse. Yes.
Yeah. That's so frustrating.
It's your life. You could do whatever the heck you want with it.
And funny enough, which is not funny, that same child has disowned and refused to speak to all of the siblings because they didn't jump on that bandwagon of.
So they have an issue with themselves.
The whole thing. Yeah.
But that's really what it all comes down to, because everyone's projecting. That's something I realize as I get older. I see it more and I'm like, oh, that's what's happening here. That this child is most likely just has an internal battle with themselves.
They do. And I know what the internal battle is. I wish I could talk to my son, but he married someone that was raised by a narcissist who adopted those tendencies, very controlling.
So that your career change was probably fodder for them.
Absolutely.
They probably were salivating over the opportunity to cut you off over it.
Yeah. And so I'm sure he is so torn because, he has kids and he has a wife, and people find it funny because to some degree I respect him. And the reason I respect him is because he and his wife, or his wife, feels a certain way and he is supporting her.
Yeah.
And, I would do that for my partner. My partner does that. His parents don't really having a relationship with us because we were outed to them by a family member on his side.
Okay.
And, he stands with me.
Right.
And so, he kind of brought that up to me one day. He's like, he's doing the same thing that I do with you.
Right.
You have to respect him for that.
Very empathetic.
You're right.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at him at all.
He'll come back. He'll come back.
He will. I do think.
It's funny. I've really thought about that because so many people have said it's going to work out in the end. In my gut, I don't think it will.
Really?
Okay. And I have to be okay with that.
Yes, for sure.
Well, of course you can't live a whole. I just feel like I didn't want to blame the wife, but I was like, he's in this relationship where the wife just kind of maybe wears the pants a little bit, and I understand.
He'll get sick of it eventually.
I felt like he would just get sick of it, but I don't know the situation specifically.
And whichever way it ends out, I have processed it. Nice. I'm okay.
Yeah, you're handling yourself with the way you feel proud of, and that's all that really matters. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. Damn. So you mentioned one of your strengths is dirty talk. How do you get good at it? And do you have any tips for dirty talk in like, there's various situations that you would use dirty talk. So I would imagine it's like kind of differs, but like, do you have go-to lines or were you ever bad at it? And then you like found the pathway to be good. And if so, how?
So I was not good at dirty talk. I still don't think I'm good at dirty talk. It's practicing.
Yeah.
You just have to practice in front of a mirror sometimes, or just turn the camera on and practice. Go to Pornhub and, search dirty talk. I want to, see how other people do it. And after a while, it just kind of comes natural.
Clicked, right?
Yeah.
I feel like one of the things though, it's you kind of have to, I feel like people are better at dirty talk when they're actually horny.
True.
Like when you're not horny, it's like, I don't know, go to the fridge and give me something. I don't like it. I wouldn't have the facilities available to me if I wasn't actually
But it's my job.
Right.
And so I could do dirty talk at the drop of a hat. I do, sexting apps where you're just sexting or it's phone sex. And so
People still do phone sex?
Absolutely.
That's fun. That's great.
It's more the older guys, though.
I was thinking, definitely because so do you feel like your clients are more so older, or is it a whole spectrum of ages?
It's a whole spectrum of ages. I would say my fans tend to be 35 and above, or they're going to be the really like 21 to 24. So I kind of lose the 25 to 35 a little bit because they're more into the MILFs.
Oh, okay.
I mean, and I still identify as a MILF, and I still have a lot of fans, who want that.
That want that MILF life. I'm curious. I would love to peer into the brains of the males that want your services. Like what's their sexuality looking like? What kind of things, like what are the hits in terms of what you get requests for?
My request a lot is stepmom role play. Like that's my specialty.
Stepmom
What
stuff. Is it about the stepmom stuff and stepsister and it's like stepfamily? Stuff is huge on the porn sites.
Huge. A large portion of my clientele is married.
Okay.
Or is in a relationship. And I really think maybe for adult creators, OnlyFans creators, that's probably across the board, I would think.
Yeah.
We're your sneaky link, your dirty little fantasy.
Yeah.
That gets you through the mundane life. That's us.
And you kind of can't really tell me if you agree with this, that type of sneaky, like, and being like naughty and sneaky, you can't really get with a partner. I mean, I guess you could kind of create a world in that, but you really have to get lost in your imagination, and that takes time.
Right. It does take time. It does take time.
What's the difference? Like if someone comes to you because they're interested in MILF stuff or GILF stuff, like what behaviors are different on your end?
So I would say the MILF stuff is really about just that little fantasy, being naughty. So you're at the gym, so scenarios that I've acted out or done custom videos. One is your son's friend stops by and he's not home. So, I've always had my eye on you, Joe, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's a big scenario. The GILF thing is more about control.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yes. They want you to tell them what to do. They want you to take control of the situation.
Grandma's mad. You interrupted her baking.
And it's funny because they don't really, the grandma scenario or role play, I don't get as much.
Okay.
But it's more about being older, having the control, being confident.
Yeah, like Dom.
Mm-hmm.
You've been around the block. You know what
Yes,
you're doing. You're,
life
you're sick of people's shit.
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
What requests have you gotten, or like fantasy, proposals that are out there for you? Like just that you were like, oh, okay.
Out there. I once did a whole series of custom videos for a guy who, it was his mother-in-law. And so it was
for his mother-in-law?
Well, he wanted to
you were playing his mother-in-law?
Wanted me to play the mother-in-law. And he had these very detailed scripts. And so,
Men be putting so much thought into their sexual fantasies, and then they don't get you flowers on Valentine's Day, and you're like, there's a little bit of an imbalance here. But okay, go on.
He did a whole series. It was like a 5-video series of, this thing that he wanted to act out with his mother-in-law. And he really, I mean, according to him, because you can only believe, what they're telling you. He had a thing for his mother-in-law. She had short hair. She looked like me.
Okay.
This is so funny. I just
would act it out.
Hear him clicking in the like spare room, and his wife's like, "What are you doing?" You're like, "I'm working on a project, a passion project,
spreadsheet."
It makes sense to be attracted to your mother-in-law, though. Like if your wife looks like, her mom. I mean, that makes sense.
Right.
I don't think that's the craziest thing.
I did a whole giant test series, which giant test is where you shrink people.
Okay.
And you use them. They're powerless. They're in your power.
Lilliputian.
Wait. You shrink them like physically, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Yes.
Wow. And so you're pretending that you're shrinking them. Are you pretending that they're next to you or that they're in the camera? Like, are you looking at them in the camera?
Well, so for this series, I had another guy that ordered a custom video series. I actually got a mini little Barbie doll, like a very mini doll, type of thing, and shrunk her and then just used her and berated her. That was his kink, was to shrink them down and degrade her and do these kind of things.
Whoa.
Like
sexuality is so complex.
You're just a bitch, and so
now you're a small bitch.
And then the very last video, I used the restroom and yes. And what you do is you throw her in the toilet and you flush her. Oh, that ends the series.
Wow, that's the beginning, middle, and end. There's an arc. This guy's a screenwriter.
Some people have these amazing imaginations.
I'll say. Wow. And I never hear about men's imaginations unless it has something to do with their dick being hard. What the fuck is that? Like, you got all that imagination power. Like, yeah, use it. I mean, it's great that there's an outlet for it. I imagine that, like, especially if that's their only outlet. Yeah. How many videos are in a series?
Each of those, there were 5 videos.
Wow. And how long are the videos each? I mean, I guess it depends on
about 10 minutes or so.
Wow. Wow. And you edit them together and everything. Custom porn, man.
Yes.
What other ones? This is so interesting. The shrinking thing. I'm just, wow.
It is very interesting. I did a solo video. This guy wanted, this happened to him as a kid. So his dad was out of town on business. He was supposed to spend the night at his friend's house, but he didn't feel well. So he came home. Mom didn't know he was upstairs, and she brought her coworker home, and he heard noise and came downstairs and saw them.
Fucking?
Yes.
Whoa.
And so he wanted me to reenact the mom and the coworker of what he saw.
Oh, wow.
So he told me what he saw, but he wanted me to do it solo with a dildo.
Okay.
And so I reenacted that whole thing for him and brought that back to life.
Some sexual healing.
Fascinating.
Wow. We're therapists.
Oh, absolutely.
100%. I feel like men are more encouraged to like work stuff out sexually than, than actual talk therapy.
Basically, any place where a woman is interacting with a man, you're a therapist.
Yeah.
I own a baseball card store, and I'm also a therapist. So I understand.
Right.
Can we also just briefly talk about the swinger lifestyle? Because I know you said you have been a part of that for a very long time. I find the swinger lifestyle fascinating. How did you first get involved in that? Like, how do you enter?
So when I met my partner, I had 5 things on a checklist that the next man I was going to be with had to hit. And one of them was ethically non-monogamous.
Right.
And so when we got together, and he was on board with that. Where we were in Portland, there used to be a swinger club. This is back in like 2009. It had closed, and the owner was doing hotel parties. Well, I didn't want to do a hotel party because that was just too intimate. Like I wanted to be able to
like a big room,
more go to a club. I want to, I was a baby swinger. I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
So in Portland in 2009, Ron Jeremy opened a huge swingers club.
Oh, wow.
And
good for Ron giving back to the community.
So I was waiting for that, or we were waiting for that to open. And so the first month that it opened, we went to that, and that was our first dipping our toes in.
What was it
swinging.
like? What kind of things you, because I've been to sex clubs. How is a sex club different than a swingers club?
It's not.
Okay.
It's not. There's different rooms. One room might have a sex swing in it. There's a big orgy bed, there's all kinds of things. And so just went and observed and met a couple that actually worked at the club, who we are still friends with today. And they really educated us a lot.
Oh, wow. Like what the swinger lifestyle is?
Yes.
What? Okay. So can you educate us then? Because I'm not, swingers, I just think of like you meet a couple and then you just swap. It's swapping, constant swapping.
Swinger lifestyle is just like a blanket umbrella.
Okay.
And so it's just like anything. There are so many dynamics. And so some couples are full swap, which means, let's swap partners and go to separate rooms, or let's swap partners. We're in the same room. There are couples who only play together.
Okay.
It's just,
you can still be a swinger and just play with each other.
You can, because you have that mentality. Mm-hmm. And so everybody makes their own rules about themselves.
Yeah.
And it all falls under the umbrella of swingers, because there's single swingers. You don't have to have a partner to be a swinger.
Oh, I didn't know that. Do you ever get tired of being horny? Like, do you ever get over it? Or is there ever a day where you're like, because, everybody's job,
I don't want to go to work today.
Yeah. Like, even as a stand-up comedian, we have the most fun job on the fucking planet. But there have been times, not many, but there have been times where I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, do you experience days where you're like, ugh, I don't feel like sticking this up my pussy?
I would say I quit my social work job full time in April of 2022 to do this business full time. Before that, I would say no, because I was just so excited. I worked the day job, it wasn't boring, but it was just, I was burned out. So I couldn't wait. And then doing this full time, there are definitely days that, on a normal day, I work 16 hours. I get up at 6 a.m. The first thing I do is grab my tea. I'm on OnlyFans. I'm answering messages, scheduling content. And I'm pretty much available working the business in some way, shape, or form till 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Do you have to work that long, or you just choose to because that's how you're going to get maximum profits? It feels like you're famous enough that you don't have to do that anymore. That's a long day. It's kind
of a double-edged question, because do I have to? No, I don't have to. But then I'm not going to make the money, the goals. I'm not going to hit my goals that I have.
Oh, okay. I see.
But it's like, when is it enough? And that's like, as we're all working for ourselves at this point. So that's like a question that I ask myself enough. I go, it's like, okay, well, this is, yes, I can hit another goal, but it's like, it's unpleasant. It's too much.
Right. And there are definitely days like that. I just have this personality where I am so driven and so focused that I just don't lose sight of the prize.
Wow.
Sure.
Like to be in the flow.
And so I have a hard time turning it off, actually.
Wow.
And has this going full time, has that affected your partnership, or is he still so involved?
Yeah, he's so involved. In fact, I'm at the point where I need to hire an assistant now. And instead of hiring an assistant, he plans to quit his day job this year.
Perfect.
And handle the social media and the editing.
Do you guys ever get in sexual slumps? Like every relationship does, but because sexuality is such a part of your career and he's part of your career, like, do you ever have dry spells?
No.
Wow, for 15 years, huh?
We're in our 50s, though.
Right. Well, right. That's why I'm like, that's so exciting.
Yeah, no, we don't. We're very fortunate.
Wow. How did you meet this person? I think it's always interested. No, I'm just like, I think it's like, I'm always more interested in how people met the second person rather than the first person.
We met through our kids.
Oh,
whoa. Yeah.
So really, your kids can't really say anything. Yeah. This is on them,
That's
actually.
right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. We, my partner and I ended up at this family camp through a nonprofit, and our kids became friends, and that's back in the MySpace days.
Oh,
and I thought he was really such a smart ass. I'm just like, ugh. And anyway, funny enough, he was drawn to me, went home, made a MySpace so he could talk to me. And we were just friends for months. We would just either text or chat on MySpace about the perils of raising kids on your own.
Yeah.
You know, just that camaraderie, because he was a full-time single dad.
Wow. Respect.
And and then finally he's like, hey, do you want to go out to dinner or something? Let's just say I didn't get home till the next day.
Wow. You fucked on the first date and 15 years later, here you are.
Yeah. And I mean, we never lived together or anything. We bought a house and merged our families. It was like,
wow.
We're in our 40s. We're not playing games.
Yeah. Fuck it.
So he checked all my boxes. How could I not?
Seriously. And I'm sure you checked so many of his boxes. He probably didn't even know that this was possible. This type of relationship was possible to have.
No. And I mean, after, dating him a couple months or something, when I spring the swinger question, I'm like, hey, I have a question. How do you feel about a threesome? He's like, oh, I always dreamed of 2 women. I'm like, no.
I'm doing 2 dicks. Sorry.
Two dicks and me. And he's like, oh, I'd be game.
Okay,
I said, yep, box check.
You could tell a lot by a guy, not to shame any guy who's not into 2 dicks and a vagina, but boy, do I respect a guy's at least openness to it. And then when they're turned on by it, you're like, oh, jackpot.
It was important for me to find somebody who wasn't controlling and had jealousy. And boy, did I test him. Even dating, like we go out to the bars, and I worked in the bar scene when I was a single mom, and I was just all over. I was up in the DJ booth. Everybody's hugging me. Like I feel blessed. I was well liked. And it was to see what his reaction was going to be.
Yeah.
He's just over there having his drinks. And then he'd be like, oh, I got you another drink. And don't even worry about it. Go chat with your friends. And I was like,
freedom.
This is my guy.
Hell yeah. I wanted to ask you this question, so we got to wrap up soon. Have you ever had a sexual injury?
Yes. So I have, and I think it's pretty common. Sometimes you'll get just from, you fucked yourself with a dildo for like 4 hours, 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
And it is sore up there.
Yeah. So that would be the only sexual injury.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
Nothing too exciting.
Okay. That's great.
Soreness.
That's good. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You really went from you went from being in a relationship for 15 years with a man who was extremely abusive to a relationship that's also now 15 years and going, where you have sexual openness and companionship and you feel seen and heard and respected in every way possible. That's really incredible.
I am lucky. All of my single girlfriends, I think, would steal them in a heartbeat. I wouldn't say jealous. They're very envious though. And they're like, we always, we want to find that guy.
Yeah. And it's important to see an example though of a couple. It's really important, especially for women, to go, oh, you can have a male partner that is all of these things. It's not some fantasy, oh, I want too much.
Right. I mean, he takes my girlfriends out on dates, and I mean, they're not sexually involved, but it's just fun. I was in LA on another media tour and had met someone through one of the interviews I did, and had said, hey, you want to go out, and get some drinks and stuff? I'm like, hell yeah. And so then I'm calling my partner who's on a date with my girlfriend saying, oh my gosh, guess what? I'm going to go out in Hollywood. I mean, that is beautiful. That is so authentic.
It's a bond. I remember when I opened up my relationship with my last boyfriend, I watched him have sex with another woman, and but it was all okay and we were all cool about it. I'm like, I've never felt this close to another human being in my life.
It's amazing. And my partner is my videographer. So I shoot content with other women and men, and he's the camera person. And I mean, he knows all the angles, the shots. I mean, I live my dream every day.
That's so cool.
I wake up every day and say, I am living my dream life.
Oh, I'm so happy. That's great.
Awesome. And where can people find you?
It's easy. All things Ruby are at RubyLynne, RubyLynne.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. We're glad that you're living your dream.
This is such an inspiration, Ruby.
Oh,
this is incredible.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Our pleasure. This has been Guys We Fucked, the Anti-Slut Shaming Podcast. We will talk to you next Friday.